What's up, guys? Welcome back to the pod. Happy Monday. Hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. I'm back from Miami. I'm leaving for Cabo tomorrow. And I'm ready to give good pod. When I tell you that I watched back the first two videos of myself on YouTube and I wanted to claw my own eyes out. I wanted to rip every follicle of hair off my head. I wanted to masturbate with sandpaper. I wanted to literally drag my ass over burning hot coals. Something about the idea that I was being filmed at the same time as being recorded just like really tripped me up. And I was nervous. Like, I get nervous. I know that you guys don't think I do, but I get so nervous with new things. And it's just a new skill. But now that I've seen myself, I'm like, okay, why was I acting like I had a lobotomy? I've been saying lobotomy a lot recently, like on text, being like, oh my God, the first YouTube was so bad. I look like how to eat lobotomy. So I started getting lobotomy TikToks. Very dark side of TikTok. Do not go there because they have all this footage of people who like had lobotomies. Is actually so fucked up. Anyway. Okay, so quick Miami recap for you. Then I'm going to talk to you about Demon Night, which is some terminology that I don't think I have expressed to you before. And then I'm going to talk about Box Theory and Sex and the City. I know a lot of the youth is watching Sex and the City for the first time. As you may or may not know, I have watched it 700 times. I actually never stop watching it. That's one thing about me is I always have it on. Like if I'm in a bad mood, if I'm in a good mood, I put it on in the background. I can quote every episode. It's literally my favorite show. And I think people get confused because they're like, Tinx, you talk mad shit about Sex and the City. It takes a beautiful and complex work of art for us to still be discussing it this many years later, okay? It is literally 20 plus years later and it is still culturally relevant and we still talk about it as if it were going on today. And that's how you know it's good art. And unlike the rest of the world who has lost their goddamn minds, I don't think that if you criticize something, it means you don't like it or you think it's valuable. Everything is complex. Everything has good and bad. And to me, a good piece of art is something that fosters discussion, that you can have a discussion about, you can discuss with your friends, you can discuss with your community and what have you. So I'm really excited to be talking about it in the context of box theory, because I know we have a lot of new listeners and maybe you're not so familiar with my most famous theory. So we'll get into that. And I also think, by the way, it's an important lesson that we can learn. So we'll get into it. So when we go to Miami, Patron. My man. Patron is everything to me, okay? It was one of the best brand trips, maybe the best brand trip I've ever been on. They organized it so well. And I was like a little bit nervous about taking Lucas on a brand trip because to be a good +1 on an influencer brand trip, you have to be very multifaceted, okay? So you have to be able to party when it's time to party, schmooze when it's time to schmooze, make friends when it's time to make friends. And let me just sidebar for a second and say, I am an outgoing person, but I don't always love to I'm not like the first person to go make friends in one of these situations. It just kind of gives me anxiety. I don't know, maybe I'm an unfriendly bitch, you tell me, but I'm not that good at talking to strangers. Interestingly enough, Lucas is unreal. He can schmooze anybody, win everybody over. Everybody loves him. It's like an annoying thing in our friendship that everybody loves him. So he immediately was just so good at brand trips. By the way, we took American Airlines. You know how I feel about American Airlines, but genuinely, what the hell? How is that airline still in business? You nasty, okay? The seats don't even work. Just saying. American Airlines, boo you whore. Oh, and they gave us snacks. And I wanted to talk to you guys about something because as someone who grew up abroad, I'm still trying a lot of the classic American snacks that people had a lot of in childhood. Let me tell you something. Chips Ahoy tastes like sawdust. That was the snack they gave us. I fell asleep. I passed out. And then they were like, oh, do you want to have some snacks? I said, sure. I had some gummy bears, some off-brand gummy bears, actually very delicious. Then they gave the Chips Ahoy. Sawdust, okay? Sawdust. I would not feed the cats the Chips Ahoy. No offense. Actually, much offense. Okay, so we get to Miami. We are really hungry. We go to Pura Vida for just an intention setting, little snack before we go out because our dinner was so late, which by the way, I love Miami so much. It's literally like being in Europe. Their dinners are at 10 p.m. and then it's straight to the club. That is my type of trip, okay? So we get empanadas at Pura Vida. By the way, I've never had them before. 10 out of 10, you need to go if you're in Miami. And I love their coffee. I'm obsessed with Miami. I know, I won't shut up about it. So we have it. Lucas and I are chatting and I'm like, damn, I hope this is a fun trip. And every time I make my friends go on a trip, I'm always like, what's our intention? Like, what are we going to do? Like, I'm so annoying about that stuff. We decide we're going to have fun. We say all of our stuff, like what's on our mind, blah, blah, blah. We've both been having stressful time at work. So we were like, okay, let's like rip it and have a great time. So we go to, and then I find out that Tayshia's on the trip and like, I'm obsessed with Taysha. She's the nicest person. She's so bubbly and so fun. And I think it's quite rare to find a girl who is like a 10 out of 10 pretty and also so fun. That's Tayshia. She couldn't be nicer, couldn't be more fun, obsessed with her. So I was really happy. Meet the other people. We realized it's not that big a trip. And Lucas was like, ooh, is there going to be a lot of people or is it going to be just a few? Cause like, then the pressure will be all on us, da, da, da. And it wasn't that many people, but like everyone was so nice. The first dinner was incredible. And the Patron team, they are the most fun people ever. Obviously they love to party. They work for Patron. So we have this really, really fun dinner. There's like a bartender there. It's spicy themed. So I'm in heaven. Okay. I'm in heaven because it's literally spicy margarita themed the entire weekend. There's a bartender. He's making my favorite niche drink, which is a spicy passion fruit margarita. Incredibly niche. So good. At this point, I'm getting a little loose. I'm having a little fun. We go to Live and we see John Summit. And you know me, I love to club. I love a European style club. I don't know why I said European so weirdly, but I love a European style club, like a big, like it's dark. There's, air, there's confetti falling from the ceiling, and people in Miami just go. Like people in LA could never, okay? They could never. Everybody in LA drinks their green juice, goes to bed at 9:30 so that they can get up for hot yoga, okay? Fine. Go off if you want. In Miami, I was like the first to leave and I left at 3. It was amazing. The next day we go to the qualifiers. So fun. We're in the Red Bull Energy Station. I saw my friends from Red Bull again. Just like absolutely love it. They're the best as well. And they're like F1 is huge. The racetrack, the whole thing is just enormous. So it's very lucky if you're in like a paddock or if you're in the Red Bull Energy Station because you have food and drinks. And obviously it's in Miami, so it's quite hot. So we were there. We were partying, like meeting new people. It was so fun watching the qualifiers, obviously. And having the best time. And then on Saturday night, Lucas and I stopped by another dinner. I was like, this is the other good thing about him. He has the most amazing stamina as well. He literally, I sometimes think that I have a problem because I can party for 3 days straight, like fully still at my age. And it's really good to have someone who can be on your speed because when you're on a trip and you're just not on the same page, and listen, there's no good and there's no bad, but it's really important when you're on a trip like this to be on the same page. Like I always say when people are like, oh, Tinx, I'm going to Coachella for the first time. What's your advice? I'm like, make sure you go with people who have the same energy level as you, because it's really frustrating if like one person wants to go out and one person's like, I'm so tired, I want to go home. Like being on the same page is so important. We go to this fun dinner. We're meeting all these new people. We ran into my friend Willa, who's literally the best, and I'm going to have her on the pod. She's so funny and cool. And I just like was obsessed with her. And when you just run into someone and you're like, I want to take our friendship to the next level because I truly love you. That happened with her. And then we went to another dinner with Patron, and we went to this club called Gecko. I took one of the most amazing pictures of my life at Gecko. When it just like, sometimes you ask someone to take a pic of you and it's, they try 100 times and they just can't fucking get it. Who's like that? Bless her soul. And you guys know she's my favorite person on the earth. My mom. My mom can't get a good picture of me to save her life. She literally doesn't know how a phone camera works. She doesn't understand that you literally look in the phone to see what the photo is. Like she looks at me and I'm like, no, look in the phone. Anyway, someone, I don't even remember who, took this photo of me licking a Patron bottle. Is it ladylike? No. Do I give a shit? Also no. I've never looked better in my life. It was the most amazing pic. By the way, shout out to my stylist, Amanda. I gave her the most demonic mood board for Miami. I was like, I want to wear capris and I want to wear this and I want to wear that. And she slayed the house down boots. Okay. She ate so hard. I was getting DMs from people that I haven't gotten DMs from in a long time. And they were like, you look good. I was like, thank you. It only cost several thousands of dollars in glam and clothes and trainer. Oh, I know what I wanted to say to you. Like, sorry, this has been a fun recap up until now. I wore an outfit on Friday night that showed my abs. And as you know, because I don't shut the fuck up about it, I've been working out in the gym really hard. And a lot of people were like, oh my God, like paying compliments saying I look good. I want to remind you, first of all, I'm not one of those people who can't accept a compliment. Thank you if you said something nice. Like, that was really kind. I want to remind you that, like, I pay a personal trainer 3 to 4 times a week so that my abs started to look like that. Like, it's not free. It's not like, and I'm saying that because I think before I had money to do that, or like before I was in this world, I didn't realize like how much that shit helps. Like, I will be honest with you, when I was in my 20s, I used to you guys know that I used to compare myself all the time. Like, thus the obsession with comparison is the thief of joy. But I always felt like, yeah, I know they have like personal trainers and stylists and glam artists, but like, I should look like that too. Like, it's my fault that I don't look like that. So what I want to say is that if that's the help that I have, like if I have a personal trainer 3 or 4 times a week, I have a stylist, I have professional glam that comes, like imagine what like real celebrities have, right? Like imagine what the real celebrities have access to. They have chefs, they have like facialists that travel with them. They have like, other, like they have just so much help. So you literally cannot compare yourself, because I'll be dick on the table with you guys. It took a lot of money for me to look like that. It took all the help, like personal trainer, not just workout classes, yada, yada, yada. So I just wanted to say that, because in case anyone was comparing themselves, whatever. Okay. So we go to Gecko. We have a great time. The race day was great. We, had the best time again. And then Red Bull very kindly invited us out to a dinner, and then we went clubbing again. And I had on Sunday what we know in my close friends is a demon night. Now, I haven't had a demon night in some time. A demon night is not a drunk night, okay? It's not sloppy drunk. You're not crying, you're not beer tears. You're not, falling over. It's where the devil possesses you, okay? The devil comes through you and the devil possesses you, and you become a psychopathic version of yourself. And Good Kisser Guy also happened to be in Miami. So I've been dealing with the repercussions of that ever since. But anyway, that's all I'll say. And I just want to let you know that if you have a demon night, it happens to the best of us, okay? And sometimes you just get really tired. Me, after I said, I can party for 3 days. You guys, I'm a beast. I'm an ox. I'm a tank. I am. But once every couple of years, you have a demon night. I actually used to have them a lot. In college, I had a very famous one where I was like screaming at this guy. I was like, why won't you take my virginity? It was really embarrassing. So the demon nights have gotten less and less as you grow older. It's really great. But once in a while, they strike you down. And I got struck. The devil came for me on Sunday night. So sorry to everybody that was caught in the crosshairs of that. Okay. Let's talk about box theory and Sex in the City, because it is actually a perfect landscape to explore and discuss this theory. So for anyone who doesn't know, or anyone who needs a refresher, box theory is my theory that when a guy meets a girl in a romantic setting, he puts her into one of 3 boxes. Wants to date her, he wants to hook up with her, or he wants nothing to do with her. Okay, the third option is easy. You should be able to know when someone wants nothing to do with you. That's easy. Where people get confused is between the hookup box and the date box. And I get it. It can be confusing, especially now. Like, men are kind of catching on to box theory. It's very scary. Like, they walk among us, okay? If a guy wants to date you, you can do almost anything and he will still want to date you, okay? You can puke on his shoes. I did that in high school. The next day, the guy asked me to be his girlfriend. You can sleep with him on the first date. Every time I discuss box theory on my Instagram, I get multiple DMs saying, fucked my husband on the first date and we've been married 9 years. Banged him on the first date. We've been dating for 3. Okay? Vice versa. If he only wants to hook up with you, if you're in the hookup box, you can act like the most chaste princess. You can act like you are waiting for marriage. You cannot fuck him for months. You can talk about how much you love Bible camp and how much you love golden retrievers, and he still won't want to date you. And then people say to me, well, Tinx, that's like you're putting all the power in the guy's hands. You're looking at it the wrong way. Box theory is empowering because knowing where you stand with someone is the most empowering thing in this whole fucking planet, okay? And I wish that I had known about box theory earlier, because when I tell you that I wasted many good years of my 20s just being in the date box and being in the hookup box and not understanding why I couldn't manipulate my way into this guy wanting to date me. And if I had just known, oh, I'm in the hookup box, it's no big deal. Okay. So let's talk about one Miss Carrie Bradshaw. And by the way, just think about it for a second. Think about your own life. I want you to think of examples in your own life, because every girl has examples of both. I want you to think about like when a guy you dated when you first met, like he knew you wanted to date you. You could tell. People always ask me like, Tinx, what are the signs of being in the date box? He plans dates in advance. He respects your time. He asks you questions and he actually listens to the answers. He text you just to say, hey, not just to hook up or whatever on the weekends. He is planning the next time you guys hang when the time you're hanging is almost over. Like he's booking the next date. Okay. We've all had that. And we've also been in the hookup box where it's like you hook up, you like, maybe you'll go on like 2 or 3 dates. It's like really good. You've convinced yourself it's good, even though it's like not that good. He doesn't text you for a week and you're like, wait, oh my God, what's going on? What's going on? You feel anxious. You feel stressed out. He texts you in a nonchalant way. Maybe he hits you with the, when we hangin'. And you're like, when we hangin'? What the heck? You were inside of me last week and now you're saying when we hangin'? It's upsetting. But you know what? It's really good to know where you stand, because then you can be like, am I enjoying hooking up with this person? And am I okay with that being the limit? Or is this not enough for me? Am I looking for a relationship right now? Know where you stand. Okay? So think of examples in your own life. Now I'm going to talk about Miss Carrie Bradshaw. Carrie was never in Big's date box. Ever. When Tinx, they ended up getting married. Yeah. How did that go? Didn't it take over 10 years for him to finally lock it down and propose to her? She kind of like proposed to herself. And didn't he leave her at the altar after she wore a fucking bird on her head in the New York Public Library? So when you ask me, Tinx, can you move from hookup box to date box? Yeah, sure. You can claw your way. You can wait it out. You can literally try to wait him out and just wear him down. But is that what you want your love story to be? I'm gonna try to stay on topic with Sex and the City and not go on a whole box theory. Like, I could talk about box theory forever. So if you remember, in the first season, she meets Big and she 100% reverse box theories him. Sidebar, reverse box theory is where a girl prematurely puts a guy on a pedestal, wants to marry him, wants to date him without really even knowing his personality, right? And girls do this a lot. I am the queen of this. Like my entire youth was just being like, seeing a guy on a dating app and being like, oh my God, he has a picture with his mom. He is a family man and we will get married. And I love that about him. And like I imagined it, I literally create a fake scenario in my head of like us getting married, and I wouldn't have even met him. I don't even know what he's like. I don't even know if he's funny. I don't even know if he like farts in his sleep or not. And I've already like proposed marriage to myself in my head. So Carrie, she reverse theoried the shit out of Big, because she met him and like Samantha says something like, oh yeah, that guy, like he's known around town, he's rich or whatever. And Carrie's like, it was a different time. So she's like, this sex columnist. She's, very, how can I put it? She's kind of like, she's not like rich and proper. And she thinks Big is like super rich and proper and like glamorous, okay? Because in the first seasons, Carrie's really not glamorous. She gets to that point and like her wardrobe evolves, her life evolves. And also it's just like an age thing, right? Like as you get older, you kind of like figure out how to be more glamorous. Like I find very few 20-year-olds like to be truly glamorous, right? Not that she was 20 in the first season, but like, do you know what I mean? Like, as you get older, I think glamour is a word that you kind of more equate with like people who are a little bit older. So in the first season, she's just kind of like trying to make it as a writer. And she sees this guy, he's wearing a suit, and she just attaches all this meaning to him. Like, this is the type of guy that I want to be with. And we all do that, right? We all do that to some extent. We're all like, oh, like this is the person I think I should be with. By the way, your life begins when you stop thinking about what you should be with and you start thinking about who actually makes you feel good. Again, I digress. So it's a big conversation in their friend group whether she's going to fuck him on the first date. And obviously Charlotte is like, oh my God, you can't, like that would ruin everything. And Samantha's like, who cares? Like, because Samantha doesn't care about dating people anyway. She ends up doing it. And then she doesn't hear from him for a while. Now, I would argue that her banging him on the first date, and they do it before she even like goes to dinner with him and whatever, like they literally just fuck. I would argue that that has nothing to do with him never wanting to date her. She was in his hookup box from the second that he laid eyes on her. And how do we know that? We know that because of how he deals with her over the next 10 years. In season 1, she literally thinks that they are in love, and then she sees him out on a date with another woman. Now, not only is it the fact that he's still dating other people, but going a level deeper, it's that she has so little communication with him that she doesn't know that. Like, to me, I'm never that in the dark, okay? I know if the person that I'm having sex with is seeing other people because it's gross not to know, right? I would never be having regular sex with someone at that level and not know where they stand with me, right? But Carrie is so delulu and so obsessed with big that she lets it cloud her judgment. Even after he does this, she continues to date him, okay? She continues to date him. And like, he won't introduce her to his friends. There's the classic, the episode called "Oh Come All Ye Faithful," where, she stalks him because she's psycho at church with his mom. And he introduces Carey as his friend. And at this point, they've been banging for like months. And she's confused. She's so confused. Carey is in his hookup box. Then she ends up not wanting to go to St. Bart's with him because she's like, I don't know what to do. I think that's a big mistake. I think Carey would have had a lot more success and been a lot happier if she had banged big and had him take her out to all the fancy dinners, had her take him to St. Bart's when she wasn't not dating other people seriously, and just forget it. Wasn't her guy. Do they have a crazy sexual chemistry? Yes, I believe yes. And that's the frustrating thing, is that sometimes you're in the hookup box with someone you have crazy sexual chemistry. And that's where the question comes in, where you're like, why won't he date me? Like, we have the best sex. But if you really analyze your relationship with the person you're in the hookup box with, trust me, it will be more flawed than you think it is. Like, we've all convinced ourselves, we're like, I have like 3 guys in my life that I was convinced like, oh my God, we should be together. I want to date you. But now when I look back, not only was I in the hookup box, but I was also delusional about our connection because there wasn't that much there. I don't think that Carrie and Big actually have much more than an insane chemistry and sexual connection. Okay. So then like they start to date again. So annoying. And we have this scene where one of my favorite, and by favorite, I mean least favorite scenes, like in the entire series. It's in season 2 and they are dating and she's like trying to convince her friends, like, it'll be different this time. It'll be different this time. Like, by the way, can I just sidebar and say that the love of your life isn't probably like the guy who all of your friends and family hates. I get that call a lot on my radio show. And are there exceptions to the rule? 100%. But the guy that all of your friends and family think is a douche and a bad guy and that you're constantly trying to persuade them, like, don't give him another chance. Just an idea that maybe that's not your soulmate. Anyway. So she's convincing her friend. She's like, no, you guys, like, he's going to show up. Like, he's going to meet you. If you have to get your friend, if you have to beg the guy you're sleeping with to come and have drinks with your friends, you're in the hookup box, okay? We've all had it where we're dating a guy and like you know you're in the date box because he's like, I really want to meet your friends. Like, oh, like, should we do something with like both of our groups on Saturday? Like, clear, surefire sign of the date box. Not big. He has to be dragged to drinks with the girls. Okay. So then he's like, I'm moving to Paris. And she's like, okay, I'm going to move to Paris with you. Bitch, he didn't ask. He didn't ask you. He didn't say, here's a ticket like Alexander Petrovsky did in season 6. No, he just said, I'm moving to Paris. Then she comes over in a fucking stupid red dress and a beret with McDonald's and is like, we have, it's the sex. Like, woo, I'll move over there. And he's like, well, you'd be moving for you, right? The most devastating question, because it's just like the writing is on the wall. The writing is on the wall and she just refuses to believe it. And she has this hissy fit and she's like, I'm such an idiot. And I'm like, yeah, I agree with you. You are an idiot. Like, this man has given you no signs. Like, oh, another classic sign with them. There's an entire episode about how he won't give her any space in his apartment, okay? If a guy won't let you keep a fucking thong and a tampon in his apartment, you're in the hookup box, baby. Look in the mirror, okay? And vice versa. Like, when you're in the date box, because guys are always like leaving their shit at your house and they're like, oh, I'll come get it again. And you're like, okay, you just want to see me again. Damn. So yeah, I mean, he was never, ever wanting to date her. And you know who was? Aiden. Now, I love that we have such side-by-side comparisons because it is the most clear date box and hookup box of anything that I could ever imagine. I also love that they put in the direct comparison of, like, for example, meeting the parents because, Big, his mom is right there and he doesn't even say like, oh, this is Carrie, like we've been dating or something, whatever. He refuses to introduce her to Carrie to his mom, like at a later date even. Aiden, after a few dates, is like, my parents are coming to town. Would you like to come to breakfast with us? Okay. And what does Miss Little Narcissist Bradshaw do? She's like, I don't know. That would be kind of like too much for me. Like, that's kind of a lot, which just goes to show you that like when you're into a guy, you will literally accept the worst treatment. And when you're not into a guy, you think everything is ick. And Carey is just icked by Aiden from the beginning, which is a shame because he really, really loved her. And he was ready to marry her. She was in his date box from day one. She treated him like ass, okay? The parent thing, she dicked him around. She goes to meet his parents eventually, but still, like, she makes such a big fucking deal about it. If someone says, oh, do you want to come and meet my parents? Like, just be nice about it. Like, don't be such a dick. She cheats on him. She cheats on him with her ex-boyfriend. She breaks up a marriage. She cheats on him and he takes her back. He wants to help her with her rent because she's, her apartment is not going to be, they're going whatever. He literally is like, let's buy the apartment next to each other. Let me redo it for you. Let's make a house. Let's make a life together. Like, let's do this. And she won't play ball. She doesn't like him. Now, I'm not for a second saying that you should settle for someone that you're not in love with and that you don't like, obviously. But I just think it's a really, really good direct comparison of date box and hookup box and how men act towards you when you're in either of these boxes. She was just too wrapped up in herself and wrapped up in the idea of big to notice that. And I do think she was in love with Aiden. I absolutely think that she was in love with Aiden. I just think that he wasn't what she thought she deserved, which is really sad because he was a great guy. I think it's interesting that they carried on the confusion of the Big and Carey relationship in the movies, like in both movies. Like, I'm going to keep And Just Like That out of it because I do kind of view it as a separate series, even though I have come around to it and I really like it now. I just think it's kind of separate. I think it's interesting that in both of the movies, they play out this complicated relationship with Carey and Big. And my opinion is that it's because she was never in his date box. The whole marriage thing, the thing how he gets cold feet. Even in the second one, when she's like going to kiss Aiden, it's because she's kind of unsatisfied in his in their marriage. And the reason that their marriage wasn't, we never get a depiction of their super happy marriage is because it was never super happy. It was always tumultuous because they weren't right for each other. And Aiden wanted to date her / marry her. Okay, I'm going to quickly talk about a few other examples of box theory just with the other women in the show. So Miranda and Steve, another perfect example of a girl being in a guy's date box, no matter how she acted. Now, if you remember in the first episode where they meet, which is one of my favorite meetings, and like I ride for Miranda and Steve. Okay, I love them. Again, keeping in just like that out of it. I ride for them. They are such a real couple to me. Obviously, Miranda's a real one. We love her the most. She's so iconic and real. She's a complete bitch to him the first time they meet. Complete. Like, couldn't be ruder. She's like, the way they meet is she's pissed off because Carrie's being a bitch to her on the phone and she stood her up because Big is making her veal. By the way, terrible friend. We can talk about that in another episode. So she's pissed off waiting for Carrie at a bar and she's like, I'll have another glass of wine. And he's like, I'll have another glass of wine, please. And she's like, can you talk to me like that? Like she's so bitchy and rude to him. So bitchy and rude to him. And he doesn't care. He's obsessed with her. He's obsessed with her even though she's a workaholic, even though she's so harsh, even though she breaks up with him multiple times, even though she refuses to bend on anything. He wants to date her. No two ways about it. Clear example. Another clear example is honestly one of my other favorite couples in the show is Smith Jerrod and Samantha. Now, if you remember correctly, Smith Jerrod comes in. He's a hot waiter. Samantha's like, oh, this is just going to be another guy I bang. Like, you know, she doesn't think any different of it. And he just likes her. He just likes her. She's just in his date box. And it's very simple. And similar to Miranda, she kind of rebuffs Smith many times. You know, she's like, oh, like we're just, you know, hooking up. Like this isn't serious. Like I don't date people, you know, all of this stuff. She even, you know, there's that part where he sees her with Richard and like his feelings get hurt and whatever but he still likes her. And I think it's very hard when, you know, two people are seeing each other and one person is like, I don't care if you hook up with other people. Like that's really hurtful. And if you remember in season 6, Samantha's like, oh, while you're shooting that movie, like even after they're seeing each other casually, she's like, I don't care if you fuck a few girls on set. And then she kind of comes to her senses and realizes when he's gone, like, wait, I have like a great guy and he's obsessed with me. And she calls him and she's like, oh, wait, please don't. And he's like, don't worry, I didn't. Because she's in his date box. Charlotte is an interesting one where she's like, for both Harry and Trey, she's in their date box, of course, like kind of more clear cut and simple. I think Charlotte, it's more interesting to think about reverse box theory because I think she reverse box theories Trey to the point where she doesn't even, like it's about the sex, but it's also not. It's also about like they have differing views and like they are slightly different people and he's not exactly what she needs. So I do think that Charlotte was, of course, in Trey's date box, but she just reverse box theoried him so bad that she didn't take a minute to be like she was so excited to be married. That's actually a great example of reverse box theory where you're like so giddy to just like have the ring and have it done that you don't even say like, wait, are we aligned on things? Like, do we have good sex? Like, do we communicate well? Can we deal with, you know, adversity together? Like whatever. And then Harry, obviously like obsessed with Harry, like the best. And he's dies for Charlotte and they're just so cute and I love them. Okay, you guys, I could talk about this all day. There will be more Sex and the City episodes coming soon because I know that so many of you are watching it for the first time and I'm just so excited about that. Okay, I have 2 quick AMAs for you. Allie, 24. So I recently found out that my boyfriend of about 7 months slept with my roommate. I do not need any advice on him. I kicked him to the curb. I deserve better. You absolutely do. But my question is about my roommate. I met her randomly through an acquaintance and we became I met her randomly through an acquaintance and we became roomies out of convenience, but now I have 10 months left with this girl. 10 months. I am in no place to break a lease financially and she has made it clear that she can't go anywhere either, no matter how awkward. Please help. How do I survive this? This is insane, and I'm really, really sorry. That's actually a crazy situation to be in. I think you just have to set clear boundaries. And if I were you, I would sit her down and I'd be like, obviously, this is a really tough, I don't even know. Like, I would be so fucking mad. I really don't know what I would do. I would really have a hard time being civil, but what else can you do? I think you should just say, you stay on your side of the house, I stay on my side of the house. I would just try to Ariana and Tom it and talk through text, because I wouldn't want to be chatting with her about anything. Like, I would just systematize everything, paying for rent and getting, not that you should share groceries with her, but like paper towel and stuff like that. Just have a system so that you have to speak to her the least amount possible. And I'm not trying to be like paranoid or whatever, but make sure you like lock up your jewelry and like just like keep track of everything. I would honestly, I'm the type of person, I would get a lock on my room and lock it. Like, I'm so psycho. But if you are demented enough to sleep with someone's who you barely know's boyfriend and they're living in the same house as you, who knows what else she's capable of, I would honestly get a lock on your door, because she sounds terrible. Okay. Claudia, 34. Tinxie, I got a marry, hook up, kill, keeping it clean for your new YouTube endeavor after I said fuck about 50 times. Thank you. Guy who is very allergic to cats. Guy who is very scared of cats. Guy who owns a weird amount of cats. Like, whatever you think is a lot plus 2. Oh my God, I'm dead. Okay. Okay, this is gonna like come out of left field, but I honestly would kill the guy who owns a weird amount of cats. I know, so crazy. But like, as a man, why do you have more than 2 cats? I would bang the guy who is scared of cats, because it would be like a power thing. And maybe I would even be like riding him, and then I would call my cats. I'd be like, chain me so, like, come out now. And it would be like kind of like shock therapy or whatever. And then I would marry the guy who's allergic to cats, because every single one of my boyfriends has been allergic to cats. It's fake. It's fake. And if you've convinced yourself you have a cat allergy, it's fake. So I can cure you. And also, like, your eyes are watering, cry me a river. Like, let me call the ambulance. Like, men used to go to war and now they're allergic to cats. Forget it. Okay. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, leave a comment. I'll be responding to a lot of the comments because, as you know, this is my passion project right now. So I'm very into it. Tell me in a nice way what I could be doing better. And what I'd really love is if you enjoyed this episode, send it to a friend. And also let me know what more I should talk about on Sex and the City, because it is literally my favorite topic. Okay, until next time, I love you guys. Bye.